Welcome to Jerusalem Live. I am here with my friend Yehuda Glick. Yehuda, how exciting is this?
I am here with my friend Keith Johnson. How exciting is this?
It is exciting, folks. We're sponsored. First of all, let me just say this. I'm excited about this. Breaking Israel News is sponsoring this event, and also the Temple Heritage Foundation, TempleMountHeritageFoundation.com. You go to Temple Mount Heritage Foundation, they can see everything that's been going on, but we're coming out through live stream right here at the Menachem Begin Center.
And I want to mention one more sponsor of this evening, a very close friend of mine. His name is Keith Johnson. He's been behind a lot of what I'm doing.
We like to be behind the scenes.
Biblical Foundations.
BiblicalFoundationsAcademy.com. But there's so many people, Yehuda, around the world. People around the world are clicking in right now. You got the best production
Shalom to all the people around the world. Shalom from Jerusalem. We're here today, actually, and let's get to the point. We're here celebrating.
We're here to celebrate.
Thanksgiving to God.
Ah, man. Oh
1 year ago exactly, on the 6th of the Hebrew calendar, Cheshvan, 1 year exactly, right over here, downstairs in the street, right beneath where we are right now, there was an attempt to assassinate me. Not because of the color of my hair, but because I symbolize the connection of the Jewish people to Jerusalem. And that assassin was killed that night, and I'm alive. And ever since that evening, the concept of the connection between people and the Temple Mount has been flourishing.
Absolutely. I mean, to say that something like that would happen, which seemed, I have to be honest with you, Yehuda, when it happened, it struck me so deep. Every single day I would check to hear what's going on with Yehuda. And it was like this, Yehuda. 1 minute, well, he's in a coma. 1 minute, well, and it was really touch and go, was it not? I mean, this was not some, it's going to be okay. No one knew what was going to happen. So we're here to celebrate.
I was in a critical situation.
Can you tell us
about four bullets? 4 bullets to the center of my body, point blank. Point blank, I mean, the gun was 1 foot away from me. Okay, 4 bullets to the center of my body. And here I am, alive. I was in a critical situation. I arrived to the hospital, 5% chance to survive. And here we are. And I'm here to thank all of those who are with me.
And they're all from around the world.
Around the world.
We have people from around the world praying, different groups from different backgrounds, different faiths, but they all had one thing, and they wanted to see you to be able to come and to continue to do your work. And isn't it amazing? 1 year later, you're doing your work. And I mean, you're doing your work big time.
We're doing our work. We came out with a book, Arise and Ascend.
Wait, folks, let me tell you something. We're here today. We've got Yehuda here. We've got so many people that are going to come. We're going to have interviews from them. We've got a brand new book, biblical, historical, archaeological information, Arise and Ascend, that's going to be available right now. They can actually order.
They can actually order right now. It's $25 a book.
That's not all, folks. We got a movie. There's a movie. I haven't even seen the movie, but the movie is going to be brilliant. Am I right? Tell us about
at the end of this broadcast, we're going to have a film showing where we began a year ago and where we are today. And it really is, I want you to know that it was a real hug I received from heaven. A Jerusalem hug from heaven.
So can we do this now? Yehuda, we know that you've got so many things going on. You're going to get a chance to see people singing and dancing and celebrating in the movie. We're going to have people coming for interviews. But I want to start out doing something. I just have to start out doing something for all of you folks out here. The movie's actually called A Jerusalem Hug from Heaven, right?
Right.
I would like to give you, from all of us, a hug from earth. Can I do that? And then after I give him the hug, he's got to go and do all these things. It's Yehuda Glick. I mean, this is Yehuda Glick who's going to be doing all these things. But then you'll come back and we'll actually talk about not only what happened then, but what's happening now with the movement. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you to all of our supporters. And once again, I want to invite you to visit my website, TempleMountHeritage.com. And I want to thank Breaking Israel News for their support for what we're doing today. And I want to thank Keith. And I want to thank all the people who are with me, all the medical services, and all the people who are with me, praying for and caring. And thank you. I'm here to say thank you to God and all of his messengers. God bless you all. Thank you.
He'll be back. Welcome back. My name is Keith Johnson of Biblical Foundations Academy International, BFAinternational.com, and I am just overwhelmed with the opportunity to be here. It was a few weeks ago I actually got a phone call from my friend Rabbi Yehuda Glick who said to me that this event was going to take place, and he said, Keith, would you be willing to come and serve? And I have to tell you, it wouldn't have mattered what he would have asked me to do. I said yes, because really a year ago, when this whole situation happened, which we're actually celebrating here in Jerusalem, it shook me, as I mentioned earlier, to really to my core, and I really had a lot of things that just flooded me with questions and thoughts, and to actually physically be here right now in Jerusalem. And by the way, we're here at a time that many people would say it's not safe to be here in Jerusalem. I can just tell you, anytime you're in the center of God's will, you're in a safe place. And I think we're in a safe place right now. We're at the Menachem Begin Center. This is the actual spot where Yehuda actually had this terrible assassination attempt last year. What we're going to try to do throughout this broadcast is we're going to have different people that are going to come, and they're going to share their perspective. They're going to come and share, why and the who's, the what's, the whys, and the wheres, and I'm going to do my best to get that out of them. But we just want you to hang in here with us. There's a lot going on at one time. Things going on 3 different levels of the building. We're up here with interviews. The middle floor, people are coming in. We've got a new book. Downstairs, there's actually singing and dancing in a band, and then below that, there's a brand new movie that's actually going to be seen, that actually we're going to make available here for you at the end of this broadcast. So we're live right now. Hang in here with us. We are really excited that you're here. People from around the world, Yehuda sends his thanks for you tuning in right now. And so we appreciate everything about you being here, and we're excited about the God, the creator of the universe, who stepped in and gave Yehuda a hug from heaven, and we're hugging him, people are hugging him, and we're celebrating in the midst of a place that right now many people would say is tension, but I just sense the peace of Jerusalem here, and hopefully you'll sense that too. Pray for us as we're here, and continue to hang in here with us until I see you again now. Just we're going to watch and see as many things as we can to experience this wonderful event here in Jerusalem, live. No, by the way, I have to say again, sponsored by Breaking Israel News. By the way, they're my favorite news agency. I love them. They let me write articles, and they actually post them. So anyway, so much going on with Breaking Israel News, TempleMountHeritageFoundation.com, all these places you can check right now. Plenty of information for you to see. Until you come back again, I want to thank you for being here.
Why can't Jews go and pray
to the holiest place in the world, the only place in the world where a Jew is obligated to go? We are talking about sharing, coexistence, tolerance, respecting one another. In what world do these things have anything to do with aggravating, igniting, rather than sharing, calm, peace? And this is what the whole concept is.
Yehuda Glick, a would-be assassin, put 4 bullets in your body.
Until it actually happens, you don't really believe that it's going to happen. You don't really believe that a person who promotes human rights and is a public activist, there's no reason in the world why he should be a threat. Genuine peace, which we all want here in the Middle East, must begin with tolerance and respect.
Welcome back to Jerusalem. We are here celebrating amazing, we call it intervention from heaven, a hug from heaven, where the creator of the universe reached down, and our friend Yehuda Glick is now celebrating a year after a terrible situation that took place a year ago. I'm excited, though. We get a chance to interview different people, and we snatched this guy. We found a media guy who's a media guy in Jerusalem. I'm gonna put him on the spot. I want you to give us your honest, give it to us honest. When you first heard about Rabbi Yehuda Glick, you grew up in Israel. Am I understand? This
Yes,
is Shlomo, by the way.
I grew up in Jerusalem.
Yeah, grew up in Jerusalem. Tell us what your thought was of before meeting Rabbi Yehuda Glick. Tell us honestly. Give it to the folks.
So in Israel, everyone has different opinions, and where I grew up, Rabbi Glick was kind of considered a little fanatic.
A little.
A little, yeah. I'm being nice.
Yeah.
Not the type that you think you could agree with his opinions. And the first time I met him was about 5 months ago, and I saw a guy so humble and so tamim. I don't know what the translation for tamim is in English, but
there's a guy named Noah who was tamim, right?
Noach and Eov, 2 people that are tamim. Usually in Hebrew, when we say tamim, we mean naive, someone that you could fool. With Rabbi Glick, I felt there was just this honest, humble, just a calm person, and he's just connected with our heritage. And when you listen to anything he has to say, it's hard not to agree with him.
Yeah.
And I just became a big supporter. And
well, you not only supporter, you're actually helping to pull together what I think is a really important thing. When I first met Rabbi Glick, I said to him, your message is too important to be sidelined. Your message needs to be mainstream, meaning what you're talking about is a message for the world. That's the way I saw it. But I didn't see the vehicle. There weren't very many vehicles, it seemed, for him to get that message out, so that there was confusion.
Absolutely.
And you have actually helped, and a number of people, Breaking Israel News and others, who've helped to help get that message in to the mainstream. Can I say it that way?
Absolutely, absolutely. Breaking Israel News today is publishing articles, I believe, weekly about...
Can I give a shout out to Rabbi Tuli?
Absolutely.
Rabbi Tuli and Leah, I know you're not here. But Breaking Israel News, those are my two buddies over there. I really appreciate them. But go ahead.
Yeah, Breaking Israel News is just showing the biblical significance of
How do they say
anything going on
news
in
from a
Israel.
biblical news from a biblical perspective? I mean, when I first saw that, I was that they didn't have to say anything else after that for me.
Right. It's amazing. They actually find a connection between any news item to something that we could see in the Bible.
Yeah.
So that's a great feeling for someone that's connected to the Bible to see how the Bible comes to life through Israel.
But as a news, I mean, how is that seen? I mean, it seems to me that in Israel, and I'm not, I'm not here a lot, but when I hear about the news, there's obviously a lot of different perspectives of what's going on.
Right.
Is the Breaking Israel News way of connecting it to the Bible normal? I mean, is that something that, or is that seen as a?
No, not by most of of the secular, of the left. That's not something normal. But what we do find is that there's a global community.
Yes,
in North
absolutely.
America, in Brazil, in Australia.
Shout out to those of you around the world.
UK, everywhere.
Yes.
And I hear from people at Breaking Israel News that they're getting daily thank yous for this content. It's inspiring. They give this added value that's more than just the news. They also give the biblical perspective, and there's so many people that want to hear that perspective. You don't get to hear that in the regular media sources. So that's.
I want to do one other thing. I want to just tell you one of the things that's happening. I think everyone has heard about this. That the media, specifically social media, online media, is really becoming in these last decade just amazing in its effectiveness.
Right.
Sometimes that's positive, sometimes that's negative. Right now here in Jerusalem, it's my understanding that some of that social media is actually assisting on the negative side. Tell us what can happen on the positive side. I mean, I think this event is an example where we can have people that are online. I've got people that have let me know from Europe and Africa that they're going to be tuning in. Isn't that something that we need to use on the positive side?
Absolutely. I mean, the negative side you could see today. I know that Nitzana Dershowitz at Shurat Adin is now suing Facebook for being the platform for all of the, how do you say, hasata? What's the word? It's, causing, that's the word?
Incitement. Okay, yes.
So they're suing Facebook for that.
Really?
For the incitement. Yeah, they're a very interesting organization.
Tell us who this is that's doing this. I mean, what?
Shurat Adin.
Okay.
Shurat Adin. I know Breaking Israel News. I'm pretty sure they're covering this story this week. And then you have the good side of Facebook, where you have Rabbi Glick, where a few months ago, everyone knew he was a good guy, but no one really knew him in the global world. Then you have like before, like we spoke before, so many people from so many different countries that are supporting him on Facebook. He's getting tens, hundreds of likes on every post he has to say. So you definitely see a lot of support and a lot of more connection to Temple Mount and to
Well, I
Jewish
want to say
heritage.
to you and your job of doing this and getting the media connected is really going to be helpful, because there are a lot of people in the United States that have no clue. When you say Temple Mount, they immediately think that's something that's not connected. But yet, if I open the Bible, I see it over and over and over again. And one of the things we need is quality vehicles like Breaking Israel News and folks like yourself that will work with people like Rabbi Glick to get that important message out. So I want to tell you, Shlomo, by the way, that name Shlomo, do y'all know what the name, can you tell them what Shlomo means?
King Solomon.
Solomon. So didn't he have something to do with like the temple? I mean, was this a setup? I mean, we really appreciate you coming. We're glad that you're here. I'm a little frustrated, folks. I don't get a chance to go down and dance, so I go down and grab people and bring them up here, and then they leave and go back and dance. So
I'll dance with you any day, Keith.
all right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right. Awesome. Well, folks, we're going to be back with more people. We appreciate you being here, hanging here with us throughout our entire time. We're going to have a great time together. Welcome back. This is Keith Johnson. I'm really excited that you're here. Hopefully you're inviting your friends to be a part of this. You can just tell them to go to the TempleMountHeritageFoundation.com, and they can actually join us. We'll be here for a while, it's my understanding. I'm not sure exactly how long. But one of the things that Rabbi Glick was excited about was to be able to send the message of diversity, not only in being here with Celebration, but the many different people that he encounters and he interacts with. We have one right here today. His name is Raphael. Raphael, would you do me a favor and greet the world? Tell them them your name, who you are, and then we're going to get into a little bit about why Rabbi Glick wanted you to share.
My pleasure, Keith.
Nice and loud in that microphone. Tell them.
My pleasure, Keith. Welcome to United Jerusalem from UnitedJerusalem.com, which is the home of the United Jerusalem Freedom Alliance. And we, like Rabbi Glick, we stand for freedom versus tyranny and tolerance versus intolerance. My friend Yehuda Glick is a humanist. He is a civil rights activist. He is a man who respects all faiths. Those that attempted to take his life are those that do not respect all faiths. And Rabbi Glick is a man of integrity. He is an intellectual. He is a man of faith. And he is a microcosm of the nation of Israel, for he survives as we did throughout our long history. We have survived through the worst of situations.
Wow, that sounds good. So tell me, you've known Rabbi Glick for how long?
I met Rabbi Glick first many moons ago. He's, as you well know, he's a tour guide, and he is a man that takes people up to the Temple Mount. And he shows his solidarity with the children of Israel. He brings people up there, and he doesn't even charge. He wants people to show their presence on the Temple Mount, because I know, to the rabbi, the good rabbi, what the Temple Mount is the center of the world, essentially. And he realizes that Jerusalem in particular is the ideological, civilizational, and spiritual front lines of the free world. And he wants people to understand that it's about tolerance, and he's just a tzaddik, a righteous man of tolerance. And that's what he represents to us. And he deserves all the benefits that we can give him.
Well, I tell you what, folks, there are people like Raphael and so many people here at this event that have different perspectives. They come from different places, but right now we're unified, and we're unified in celebrating the fact that he's still here after last year. Just tell me this, when you heard about what happened last year with that assassination attempt, what happened to you? How did it affect you personally?
Well, it was a bit of a shock, I have to tell you, because I know him. He goes up and he interfaces with the Arabs on Temple Mount. He's just the nicest, gentle. He's a gentleman. He respects everybody, and he would be the last person. What's happened today is the Western world does not recognize Israel's right to her sovereignty over her holiest place. This is empowering and emboldening the global Islamic supremacist movement today. They can never claim to dominate the Judean Christian free world without taking the Jewish and Christian holiest places. This is where they're stopped. He realizes that, and he wants the world to come on board and stand with Israel.
So for you, last year, you heard about that. I mean, it was shocking for you, but I mean, how did it personally affect you? Was there anything about it that just if you go back to that year ago, when you heard that, where were you when you heard that information? What was the kind of thing that
I got it right off the internet? When I get up early and I'm online, and I saw what happened. And
what part of the world were you in when you heard
I was here in Jerusalem. I live here in Jerusalem.
Okay.
I live right in the heart.
Okay.
And it hit me in the heart, because I know that we're working together on, in a sense, I saw myself as if I was personally, I felt like I was attacked.
That is what I'm looking for. Yeah.
It felt like if it wasn't him, it would be me. It's all of us. Like I said, he's a microcosm of the nation of Israel.
Raphael, I really appreciate you saying that, folks. And that really is the thing I think that a lot of us that are here right now tonight that are experiencing is when we heard what happened, it was as if it could have been any of us, and like I say, it wasn't us. It was Rabbi Glick, and so we're here to celebrate not only that he survived, but that he's actually thriving. There's more that's happening right now, as he'll tell you later when he comes back. So hang in here with us. He's going to come back here in a little bit and talk about the specifics of it. But people like you and me, and people from different backgrounds, it affected all of us. And I think Israel knew that situation there, we could not allow that sort of thing to go unchecked. And there are changes that are taking place, and I think they're good changes. So,
well, they talk about that, Israel was accused of wanting to change the status quo, quote unquote, on Temple Mount. And nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, those that want to change the status quo is the Palestinian Authority and their Islamic supremacist movement compadres. They want to make it an armed camp. They bring bullets. They bring up bombs and rocks. They want to make it an armed camp. They don't want Jews or Christians ascending. They're the ones, everything they accuse us of, they do. They accuse us of wanting to destroy the Al-Aqsa. The other day, they burned down Yosef's tomb. They tried. It's beyond the absurd.
Yeah, it really. There's a lot that's going on. Being here and hearing both sides of what's going on, it really is confusing sometimes until you get a chance to hear the truth.
Well,
when you hear the truth and you hear what Israel has done and how they have been protecting life and not putting life at risk by going and stopping those sort of attempts that were taking place on Al-Aqsa. Again, you think about Yehuda and what I've been with him when he's gone to the Temple Mount. Talk about peaceful, talk about purposeful, talk about a man who's trying to deal with the bigger perspective of what that place is. He's done that. So folks like you, Raphael, that are here, he's excited that you're here, others that are here, and especially you folks that are here from around the world, we need you to continue to stay connected. TempleMountHeritageFoundation.com, Breaking Israel News, who's the sponsor here. Folks like you and your movement, there are just so many people, and you now are a part of what's happening.
I would like to make one final point, if I may. Look, the perspective on what Israel is subject to on a day in and day out basis is very simple. It's not an Arab-Israeli conflict. It is not an Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel, since her rebirth in 1948, is subject to ongoing, never-ending jihadist Islamic warfare aimed at our destruction. We are still fighting the war of independence today. There is no Gaza wars or Lebanon wars. These are battles in the same war. That's the way I see it. That's the way it needs to be framed. And we exist in a state of war. We do not have a recognized capital. We don't have recognized borders, and we are still fighting for our independence. Help us win our independence once and for all. And I tell that to all the leaders of the free world today, that you need to stand with us. You'll never defeat. We defeated communism because we taught the world the bankruptcy of communism. The Berlin Wall fell because not one bullet was fired. We need to do the same and teach the world the bankruptcy of Islamism, which is the latest and the greatest from communism to fascism, and now we're in the Islamism
Here's what we
phase.
need Raphael to do. We have to get him to take all that energy, go downstairs and do some dancing, my friend.
Will do.
Folks, we're going to be back in just a little bit. We appreciate you hanging here with us. We got so many people from different aspects of Israel that are going to come and give their perspective. In the meantime, continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We'll see you back in just a few minutes. Welcome back. This is Keith Johnston. I'm here at a wonderful celebration. We're calling it survival and celebration. I mean, the survival of Yehuda Glick, an attempted assassination last year. Now we're celebrating. We've got people from really all over Israel that are here. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to see the dancing. There's a movie that's being released. There's a book that's coming out. One of the things I'm excited about is we've got one of the folks here, one of the writers from Breaking Israel News, Abra, who's here. Abra, you have been a part of Breaking Israel News for how long?
For a few months.
For a few months?
Right when we started working with Yehuda Glick.
Really?
Well, he's a source for us, information. We talk a lot about the Temple Mount. It's a huge issue today. And it's incredibly relevant, because a lot of the violence is being blamed on conflicts at the Temple Mount, but, we
And that's really interesting. Can you, I'm over here in Jerusalem. From what I read, when I hear about the Temple Mount, it all seems to be that it's coming back to say as if there's this radical element in Israel that stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque and wants to take away the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Now, I'm not going to be the one to say, though I know that's not the case, but you're a person who writes, you're a person who reports. If you were to give report to people about what's actually happening on the Temple Mount right now, what would be that report? What would you say?
I would say that the problem is right now that the other side is really attempting to change the narrative. We've gotten reports that they're now trying to claim the Western Wall as a Muslim site rather than a Jewish site. Basically they're trying to take legitimacy away from the Temple Mount as a Jewish site. When you hear about it in the news, you don't hear the Temple Mount the most holy site in Judaism, you hear the Temple Mount, a holy site in Islam. So we're really trying to bring it back to the point, which is that the Temple Mount, which has been stood in Jerusalem for 2,000 years, was originally built by first Solomon as a Jewish temple, and the reason why the Al-Aqsa Mosque was built there, the Dome of the Rock was built there, is because it stands on the foundation stone, which is supposedly from the point from where God created the world. And that's why Solomon chose to build a temple there, and that's why the mosque is built there. The Jewish history is
important.
Is the base of is at the very heart of the Temple Mount.
So tell us why you would be interested. Breaking Israel News, and by the way, Breaking Israel, I'm excited that they've done this. Why would you be interested in helping Rabbi Glick get his message out? What is it about him? What is it about his message that gives you guys a sense of excitement and passion to get that message out?
Rabbi Glick is all about love. He's all about acceptance. He's all about spreading the joy and the excitement of the Temple Mount to the whole world. He doesn't want to stop anyone from coming up. It's
Say
an
that
incredible
again.
message.
He doesn't want to stop.
He doesn't want to stop anyone
Wait a minute.
from coming to the Temple Mount.
What if I'm Muslim? Does he want to stop the Muslims
Absolutely
from
not.
What if it's a Christian person? Does he want to stop?
Absolutely not.
So-
he wants people to be able to come and pray to the one true God. Any people who want to.
I think and would you also agree that part of it is that he doesn't want to be limited from the perspective as a Jewish person or the Jewish people not having access to a place biblically that is so
That's
important.
true. That's true.
So
He's a very unique perspective
So
in
tell
that way.
Yeah, it really is. So what is Breaking Israel News doing right now? First of all, I know you're around the world. People around the world appreciate what's happening, but give us just a little bit about what Breaking Israel News is doing now to help get this message out.
To help get the message out about the Temple
Yes.
Mount? Well, we're reporting every day. There's news about the Temple Mount. We're talking to Rabbi Glick. We're talking to many sources. We're talking to people who really know what's going on in the Temple Mount, because the message that the world gets is very garbled. It's really coming from a very narrow perspective, and we're trying to widen the perspective and give our millions of readers around the world a truly biblical perspective.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. Breaking Israel News is actually sponsoring this event. It's amazing to have the old city of Jerusalem right behind us.
It's incredible.
And here I've got one of the writers of Breaking Israel News. I feel like I shouldn't let you go. Do you want to talk to me right now? Folks, I tell you what, this is exciting. This is exciting. Actually, go to Breaking Israel News. There's a lot of great information there. I really appreciate the way that you guys have given people a chance to write. You've got different people that do op-eds.
Right.
I heard there's even a
We have a lot of
Methodist that you
voices.
let write. No, I'm there. They give me a chance to write. No, there's all, but you've done this with Rabbi Glick recently. I've been so excited, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate it, because when I click in, I can say Rabbi Glick, and up comes an article, and it's done well. It's great quality. You guys cover the bases, and again, really kudos to
Thank
what
you.
Breaking Israel News is doing. Is there anything else that you want to say? Is there anything you want to see? Tell the world. The world's right now. Look, is there anything
Hi,
you want to
Mom.
say?
I want to say that I really encourage people to read more and learn more about the Temple Mount.
Yes.
Rabbi Glick's site, TempleMountHeritage.com, is a wonderful source of information.
Yes.
What's really important is don't just listen to the news, don't listen to the
Exactly.
media narrative.
Exactly.
Find out for yourself what the truth is about the Temple Mount. I think that's
I got to say
an important
something too,
message.
folks. I've been here in Jerusalem just for a few days, and it's amazing to me to actually hear different leaders from different parts of the world get it wrong. To actually make quotes and things about the Temple Mount, and it's absolutely wrong. And I think, who's the person they need to have their own personal Breaking Israel News correspondent that can give it to them, so they get the perspective, so at least that when they talk about it, they can talk about it from the right perspective. And again, I encourage all people to get as much information as possible.
Absolutely. There's a lot of misinformation.
There's a
out there.
lot of misinformation right now, and a lot of people would say that's why there's violence in Jerusalem. Well, confusion and chaos we know where that comes from. So
Absolutely.
we again want to thank you all for being here. We're going to continue to talk to people. There's some exciting guests that are coming. We just had one right here from Breaking Israel News. And so keep watching and stay with us. Share with your friends. Send this to people, because there's some exciting things coming throughout our broadcast. So send the link to your friends. Go to TempleMountHeritageFoundation.com and send it to your friends. They can join in. Rabbi Glick will actually be coming back at the end talking about specifically what happened on that night, went through his mind and his heart and his spirit, and you'll be really excited to hear about that. So hang in there with us. Again, Arba, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Welcome back. My name's Keith Johnson, and we have what I call just great surprises for you. Every time I get to hear about someone that's coming, I just get all excited, and I am really excited about my new friend. I call you my new friend, Yael, Women for Beit HaMikdash. Now,
Correct.
many of our friends that are listening, and one of the reasons we did this is that a lot of people don't know Hebrew. They can't speak Hebrew. And so Yehuda said, Keith, would you come and help for the English-speaking folks? And so would you let folks know what is Beit HaMikdash? Look right in the camera and tell them, both in Hebrew and English.
Okay, Beit HaMikdash is the holy temple, the most important place on earth that today, unfortunately, we don't have it. It's not built. We're a group of women already over 15 years are trying to see what's the women's role. What's the women's role in all this Beit HaMikdash, in all the holy temple?
Really?
What could we do today? I mean, what did women do in the past? What did women do during all the years? So most of our, I mean, we do a lot of things, really a lot of things. Women, it's not a one woman that's organizing it. It's not only me, it's a bunch of a lot of women. Each one does whatever she thinks is the best to do. I mean, we go up to the Holy Temple.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
We try to learn all the different rules that women are allowed to today in order to go up to the Holy Temple, to the Har HaBayit. There's all kinds of special things that women could do and have to prepare themselves before they go up. So any woman that wants to go up, I mean, all over the country, she has to come to us, and we have to give her explain her what does she have to do.
Information for how she can ascend.
Yeah, it's very different than men. Another point that we do is basically we try to organize different things today to see how we could learn about Beit HaMikdash in practice. Basically, we make these big ceremonies. We organize, let's see, the recent one was a festival of water. That was on the Sukkot. That was the last a month ago, where the priest, the Kohanim, used to go down to Mayan HaShiloach, that's near the Holy Temple, bring up the water to the Beit HaMikdash. So there were between around 1,000 people with us going down.
Wow, 1,000 people.
Yeah, and the priest, we have Kohanim today were dressed with their and we actually try to see how was the ceremony done in Beit HaMikdash.
It's interesting, you know, there's a book we're going to, hopefully you folks have taken advantage of being able to order the book Arise and Ascend that talks about the biblical, archaeological, and historical aspects of Har HaBayit. But your own encounter with Rabbi Glick, tell me about that. How did you meet him? Now, as soon as I say this guy's name, people go from their serious thing to smiling. Why do you smile? Why do you smile when I say the name Rabbi Yehuda Glick?
Look, the truth is my mother told me we go way back because my mother knows him since he's a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
I need to talk to her. Where's she?
The truth is, but I know him since I'm 17 years dealing with this topic.
Really? Okay.
Every time we used to go up to Har HaBayit, we used to see him over there. I mean, he used to be there all the time.
Yes.
Also, we used to invite him to many of our meetings, trying to see what we could do today for this topic. It's a very hard topic. The truth is, last year I was here. On this day,
you were at the conference?
I was at the conference I got a reward.
Okay, so now take us back to the conference. A lot of people don't understand. We're at the Menachem Begin Center. Every year there's a conference regarding Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount. Last year there was a conference at this spot. Tell us about that.
Look, it was a very exciting conference because basically we got to meet all the people in charge of dealing with this topic, and came even a few people from the government. And Yuda was very excited, you know, explained all what's going on, and we were talking about what we could do today. And he gave out different rewards to people that were dealing today with what they could, with the topic, what people did mostly today. And we went out from the building, and 10 minutes later, I got a phone from my sister, hearing exactly what was going on.
So 10 minutes after the conference, you're gone, you've left, and then right then this happened. And those of you that don't know, we're going to be talking to Rabbi Glick about the specifics. But we're going to now, I want to say, Yael, thank you so much for coming quick like that and doing such a great job. Thank you for your work. We're going to be talking to more people. Is there anything you want to say to anyone other than hello and hi to Mama?
Look, first of all, the Holy Temple is supposed to be for everybody all over the world.
Yes.
So we're happy, but people come up. When I go up to Har HaBayit and I see a whole row of non-Jews or Jews coming up, it makes me very happy to know that people are coming up to the house of God.
May it be a place for all nations. Thank you so much. Welcome back. My name's Keith Johnson, and boy oh boy, it just gets better and better each time. I'm here in Jerusalem for the Survival and Celebration event for Rabbi Yehuda Glick, 1 year from this very spot where someone tried to take his life, and God turned it around, and he's doing things now that he says that situation actually catapulted him to a place to get a message around the world. And I'm here with two friends. I actually know them from a few years ago. I'm excited. I'm sitting here with two Christian folks, charismatic Christian folks, excited Christian folks who live in Israel, who've made a connection with my friend Rabbi Yehuda Glick. They got their own television show, so I'm going to sit back and watch. Tell the folks a little bit about what you all do and who you reach, and then I want you to talk about how you met Rabbi Glick.
We do a weekly TV program. It's twice a week on Revelation TV. It goes across the nations.
And the name is?
In the Last Days television.
In the Last Days. It's possible we might be there.
That's right. Well, you know, the reason we connected with Yehuda Glick was because of the program, because of In the Last Days television program. He really helped us a lot when we were we moved a studio across to Jerusalem to where you came, where we were recording. So it's because of his help that we're here. And I remember the day when all this happened at the Menachem Begin Center, and it was such a shock, Keith, to us to hear about it. And this is for us such a fantastic celebration coming here this evening.
So you've actually had Rabbi Glick on the show. You've talked about that. Okay.
And funny enough, we just done also a program last week with him to speak a bit more of what he's doing and about the Temple Mount, because we love to go also on the Temple Mount.
Isn't that true? You and I were on the Temple Mount at the same time. I think it was at Shavuot a year ago or so.
Yes. 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
So you've had him on the show, and you talk about...
And he's a good friend. We connected during the Gush Katif, and just by internet. And I went to have a Passover with him in 2005.
Okay, so you've known him that long?
Yes, and we kept in touch, and he's been really a friend. He's a heart, I hear some people saying he's a fanatic, and I'm like, you know what? He's a man who has a heart for Jerusalem, for the Temple Mount, and it's what God wants. He wants us lovers. Yes, he wants us to be lovers of Hashem, lovers of God, and is what he is, and he's a great example for us.
So what's it like for you two, in being in Israel? You live in Israel. You're clearly you're Christian people that are getting a message out. What is it like for you being in Jerusalem in terms of what you do and your ministry?
Well, it's so important to be here, Keith, because this is where it all happens. You know, there's the possibility to be in Tel Aviv or to be somewhere else, to be in the Galilee, but Jerusalem is the key. It's where everything happens. So this is where we have our studio, and it's because of people like Rabbi Yehuda Glick, yourself, and others we've met, that we've invited them to be guests on the program. The program is going further and further afield thanks to satellite television, thanks to the internet.
So tell us about that. Where are you guys at now? Where are you reaching? Who are you reaching?
In the UK, we're reaching 15 million people by satellite are watching In the Last Days.
15 million? I need to hang out with you two. Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and the thing is like we want to bring the media of what's happening here in Jerusalem.
That's exactly what has to happen.
Because we don't want even to speak anymore about the general media. They are not saying the real story, and we are here to say the real story. We are here to connect the people with Jerusalem. People love Jerusalem, and many Jewish people don't know how many Christians are just attached now to Jerusalem and to the Temple Mount. Still not enough for the Temple Mount. We want Christians to come.
They need a biblical perspective on the Temple Mount, don't they?
And Yehuda has done a great book. So we've done the program with him about his book, so people can learn. We need to learn. We need to learn.
These folks are out here. They're doing the work. There's strong compassion, conviction, the way that you two do. I mean, I was on your show. I have to say, I really appreciated the way that you work together. I mean, being here, what's it like for you now just to be here tonight? Is this not exciting?
this is amazing. You know, we saw him, we saw the recovery. We hear people who are stabbed, we hear people who are murdered here, and they don't make it. And he was, by the way, he was saying he's the only one who's been assassinated and still alive, because all the others, they are dead.
Wow.
But he was the only one, and we're really seeing, you know, God has His hand on him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
This
you
is
know,
a God
it's
thing,
just,
is it not? This is a big thing. And I mean, it's amazing. You guys have your background. You have your Jewish people, Orthodox Jewish people, I've met ultra-Orthodox Jewish people, Christian people, conservative, evangelical, just all these wonderful people.
lovers of Israel.
Who love Israel, love the God of Israel, and it's amazing. You know, we hear it with so much. There's the sirens in the background. I've had a number of experiences I could talk to you about just in the last couple days. It's a very difficult time to be here in one sense, but to be here at this event right now is triumph, is it not? It feels
That's
like
right.
triumph over terror. You know, it's like it really something exciting.
That's right, and in one way we have no choice, because this is where it's happening. You know,
It's
it's
where
like
it's happening.
You know,
You can run from it all you want.
Right. If you want to be where it's happening in Jerusalem, and you want to be where everything's coming together, and where the Jewish people are coming back to the Temple Mount, and where Christians are learning for the first time, you know, about the Temple Mount, about the importance of the Temple Mount, and you know, it's a lot of it's education. Some people say, well, you know, we are the Temple. Yes, that's true to a certain degree. That you know, God's with us, but there's also a place, special places, and you know, this place, this place is so central, it's so important, and such a key place.
And this is why we appreciate Rabbi Glick. If you're watching this, I know you're downstairs dancing. I wish I could be downstairs dancing with you. But these are people, other people around the world who understand the message of the importance of the Temple Mount. It's a biblical place. It's a place that, you know, whatever your background is, you've got, you know, a number of significant things that took place there. I want folks to understand about you guys. So you have more than 15 million. We want you to be able to come and to listen. How can they hear your program? Tell them about your program and how they can hear it.
We've got a website, www.inthelastdays.com.
Inthelastdays.com, yes.
You can go to the website. It's there tonight. You can go and see the programs. We are also broadcasting on Revelation TV.
Okay.
You can get that on satellite in the United Kingdom, but you can receive it in the States, or wherever anybody's watching today, they can go to revelationtv.com.
Okay.
And we're broadcasting live on a Sunday evening at 10 o'clock in the United Kingdom, and on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock.
Wonderful. Well, this is the Blackham family. You guys I've been to your studio. I've been to your house. You guys have peace and passion and purpose. So thank you for being here. And we got to get back downstairs so you can get to dancing.
Thank you, Keith. Great to be with you.
Thank you so much
Thank
to
you.
see you guys again. And I'm going to come see you. I'm going to be there on that 15
We
million
want you
person
to.
shoot. Hey, stay here with us. We're in Jerusalem live. We have got so many people. We're going to try to fit them all in. There's some folks that want to come and share with you with a very important message. So stay with us, and we'll see you when we get back. Welcome back to Survival and Celebration. We're celebrating the fact that our friend Rabbi Yehuda Glick, who last year at this time, they tried to take his life, and now this year, this time, he's living life in a way that's really exciting. I'm here with a special guest. I've actually been waiting for this one. I mean, I heard that I get a chance to talk to Yehuda Glick's sister, and she is here. Chaya is here. You are his younger sister, and you have been in Jerusalem for how long? When did you guys come here?
We came here 45 years ago, 40 years ago, when I was 4 years old. And Yehuda was almost 10. And we moved to Beersheba.
You were in Beersheba? Okay.
Yeah, we grew up in Beersheba.
Now, isn't my understanding, so your father was
My father came as part of the team that started the medical school in Beersheba.
Really?
He wanted to bring more people to the desert and build the special medical school in Beersheba. And he came with 6 kids, ranging from age 18 to 4. I was the youngest. And Yehuda was always with all the most energy in the family.
So even back then, you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
So give me an example. Did they have to hold him back? Was he wanting to run out?
Well, first of all, he was always the good brother.
Okay.
We did fight and beat each other up, don't worry. But
who won?
He did, for sure. But he always was the one who, whenever there was argument, I'll wash the dishes so you don't argue, or I'll take care of this so you don't fight.
So even back then,
we always knew that he would be special, and always knew that he would do something special in his life.
So do us, the international audience that's listening, can you take us back to a year ago? In fact, before a year ago, tell us a little bit about when you saw the activity that Yehuda was a part of. Tell us how that was.
Well, I think it was about 10 years ago when Yehuda first took me and my husband up to Har HaBayit for the first time. And he made us swear that if we go up, we bring up more people. And since then, we've been going up.
Wonderful.
Not as loudly as he does, because we do things more quietly, but he does it with all his zest.
Yes.
And we were getting a little worried before it happened, because we even gotten personal threats. Myself and my family were getting personal threats.
Threats about
Yehuda, and it said, you and your brother will be seeing death soon.
So wait, let's slow down here for a second. So your brother gets threats. Those that don't know, that wasn't the first threat that he had when someone came and tried. And he, even to this day, he still gets threats.
Right.
But even for your family,
yeah, even me as his sister on Facebook, I got threats. Once they found out that I was his sister, and they threatened me and him, and it was I was concerned, so I called him and I said, "Are you watching yourself? Are you taking?" And he laughed it off, and he's like, "Oh, I get threats all the time. What are you making such a
welcome to the party."
Exactly.
Oh, boy. So you saw this happening. There was an increase.
But I really wasn't worried. I wasn't. I trusted him. I believe he calmed me down. He said, "Nothing to worry about. They just are barking dogs. Don't bite." And I believed him.
Okay, and so tell me this. Now, last year, this happens. Tell me where you were, what happened to you,
So
how did you...
Actually, we had already gone up to bed, and at 10:07 my phone rang. It was my sister, and she had just gotten a call from my sister-in-law, and she said, "I want you to call everybody and tell them what's going on and get to the hospital as soon as possible." It sounded terrible. We jumped up.
When you say
and
it
ran.
sounded terrible, tell me, give us.
I'll tell you.
To the best that you can.
I couldn't get I just had to get dressed, and I had to get ready to go to the hospital, and I had a baby's home, and I didn't have anyone of my older children home. And I said to my husband, what am I going to do if he dies? And I really was concerned. I can't say I had as much belief as my sister-in-law. I had much more strength. I was I'm a medical person, and I was very sad, and I was very nervous.
Is it fair to say that last year, when you heard about the situation and you understood the depth of how big of a crisis it was, is it fair to say that you didn't know if we would get to this year, that there would be this 1 year?
Oh, yeah.
Help the people understand, because he talked about this. He would have wanted us to know.
So first of all, I remember specifically saying to my husband, what am I going to do if I have to rip my shirt? Is this a good shirt to rip? That was what I was thinking, if it doesn't work out. And then
you mean as a way of mourning?
When mourning, we rip our shirt, and I was concerned that he would not survive. And even once we got to the hospital, I personally work with coma patients, and I was very scared he wouldn't wake up. And I went into that ICU. I actually stayed in the hospital for 3 days and I was part of helping everybody. I was I let the family take all the grief, and I was taking care of the technical sides.
Because you knew what was going on, and you knew how serious it was.
And I remember sitting there and trying to wake him up. And I remember specifically Friday night, I wanted the family to go down and eat a meal together. So it was me alone in the ICU with Yehuda, and his wife had asked me to sing with him the songs that brings in the Sabbath. And I said, I really can't sing, so please wake up for us.
In other words, we need a duet here. I'm not going to be able to do this solo. Yeah.
My singing capabilities are very bad, and I was begging him to wake up, and he didn't. And I pinched him. I got to say, I really shook him. I was like, please, Yehuda, wake up. And it took another 2 weeks 10 days till he finally did.
So we kept hearing about this going into the coma, and then for a while he was out for a little bit, and then they had to go back because of how, I just cannot imagine. And he told me over and over again of how important his family is and was during that time. Can you tell us a little bit about the family? What was happening for the family?
Everybody arrived that night. Everybody. We all were there at 2 o'clock in the morning. The whole night. At some point, everybody went home except for my husband and I, and one of his sons who stayed by the ICU. We stayed there the whole night, and I stayed there. I kept on staying there until I was under, calmer, that I could finally let go and go home. It was, and we were all there. My parents, who are not young people, arrived. My boys arrived from the army, were sent home immediately, also because the army didn't think that he was doing too well. and everybody was there. We had Shabbos meals. We had everybody was there 24/7, coming and going, being in the hotel, taking care of food, taking care of getting people places, getting clothes for the kids who ended up staying there for a week. People didn't have clothes. One of my neighbors actually went out and bought clothes for one of Yehuda's sons. She gave me the sizes, and I said, he needs clothes. Go get him clothes so that he can stay in the hospital for 3 more days. He had come from the high school without anything to wear. We had to get, it was little details, but it was trying to get everybody to be able to focus on getting him there. If it was getting the music, he loved the music, so we kept on bringing people to sing to him.
You keep talking about the music.
And
that's
the
why
day he woke up, he really wanted my mom and dad to come. And I was the mean one who had to say to him that I'm not calling them to drive back from Beersheba. They had been there for 10 days, and they had just left, and he really wanted his mom and dad. But it was he's a winner.
Well, you all are a very strong family, and we're so excited that you're
he's
here.
Our energy.
Yeah, and he's got the energy, but it seems that you've got it too. So thank you so much for coming and sharing,
us,
especially
and thank you
sharing
for
from
being
that
here with us. And the world has to know that we can be strong, but we need the world behind us. We're not alone.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Say that again. Teach them a little bit of Hebrew. Say it again.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai.
The nation of Israel stays alive no matter what you do to us.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back. This is Keith Johnson, Survival and Celebration at the Menachem Begin Center. Our friend Rabbi Yehuda Glick, you've probably seen him down there dancing while he's down there having fun. He's got me up here interviewing, but I have to tell you, I have another knock it out of the park interview here with a man who is what they call Druze.
Yeah.
Now, you say your first name is Mendy, is that right?
Yeah.
And you guys, this guy is probably, for me, a picture of how this message is so diverse. Can you tell us, first of all, who you are, how you met Yehuda, and you just were at a place that's pretty interesting we're going to get to. But first, introduce yourself to the folks and tell them who you are and how you met Yehuda.
I'm Mendy Safari from the Druze minority in Israel. The Druze minority is from Jethro, from the Bible.
Yes.
And Judah is fighting for the right of Israel, the right of the Jewish people in the Temple Mount, and because he fighting for a real thing, for a right thing, so I came to him and I told him what I can to help. To support you,
So you see him as fighting for the real thing, like you say, the right thing, and you came to him and said, "How can I be of assistance?"
I think the Jewish people, they have the first right for the Mount Temple and for Israel, and not Israel as a country today, but it's Eretz Israel, the big Israel. And I think everyone who fights for this, he say he returned to the same thing that the God say to the Jewish before 3,000-4,000 years.
Wow! Now you've actually taken this message beyond Israel, and you've spoken to Arab nations and Muslim.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Before 3 weeks, we was in Azerbaijan, in Baku. Yeah, and the Arabs here start to make they start to go to the Temple Mount and say that the Jewish, they don't have a right to be here. So then I think what I can do, I'm in Azerbaijan and my people here fight against the terror, what I can do. So I asked my friend, I told him, listen, I want to meet the Mufti in Azerbaijan, and I want to meet him in the big mosque in Azerbaijan.
Okay, let's slow down now. So you're telling me, you hear what's happening in Israel, you're in Azerbaijan, you asked to speak to the Mufti in the mosque. Because you have a message.
Yeah.
Tell the world what the message is.
It's not only message, it's also questions to the Mufti. Because
so the religious leader, the Mufti, the big boss.
Yeah. Because I know that not all the Muslims it's radical. There some of them it's liberal,
very important.
And very we can talk with them. So when I come to the mosque, the Mufti will come ask, very good face. And then I told him what happened in Israel, and asked him, what you think about that? He told me, listen, what they do, it's against the God. And against the religion of the Islam.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Wow.
Then, and he told me the Qur'ans talk about the right of the Jewish people in the Temple Mount. Who is me to say no? You know?
I don't know if you folks heard this. This is amazing. I wish I could spend the rest of the night talking to you. I've got more people, but I want to ask you a question. How many different languages can you speak?
Ivrit, Arabic,
Alhamdulillah. Look at all these things.
Russian.
Russian.
Yeah.
So you speak English, Hebrew, Arabic, and Russian.
Yeah.
And so you're an ambassador to a great message.
And with the foreign language, I talk for Israel.
Wow. Wow. Well, you are here, my friend. Is there something you'd like to say?
You know, I think what happened with Judah, it must give the message to all the world that the hand of the God told him back to finish your work. You don't finish.
Yes.
I don't want you dead. I want you back to finish your work. And then I can say, my people chose the life, not the death.
So here we are, my friend. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for the message.
Everybody.
Continue to be an ambassador around the world to all those folks. We're going to be back, folks, in just a little bit. We've got more people coming. Things are popping. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Jerusalem Live. We're here celebrating. We are celebrating survival. We're celebrating purpose. We're celebrating so many things. Our friend Yehuda Glick, he's bringing all of these folks up for me to talk to, and he just brought a person that I actually saw her online doing something really radical, and that's my understanding. From what I saw, she got in a lot of trouble. Jane, who happens to be a Christian person, Jane, who's been in Israel for how long?
Couple of 3 years.
3 years. What video did I see? Tell me about the video I saw. What were you doing on the Temple Mount singing? And what were you singing?
I was actually singing the Shema Israel.
You all know that song? Sing it for us.
Shema Israel, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
And you're telling me that when you did that, things changed.
Yeah, but you know what? I saw Hamas on the Temple Mount with their flags and with their banners screaming hate to the Jews, hate to Israel. If they can go on the Temple Mount and they can turn it into a battle zone, I can go and pray to the God of Israel. And I can go sing the blessing of Israel.
Where do you get this chutzpah? Where do you get this chutzpah to do this? I mean, what kind of conviction do you have that you would be willing to do that? I mean, where does that come from?
I think it comes down to if you believe in the God of Israel or not. And I do. And when I believe in the God of Israel, I believe in the Bible. And the Bible says that God put his name down on that mountain.
I think he says he put it there forever. Am I right?
Exactly.
And so you're going there for the place where he has his name forever.
Yes.
And and I remember what you were doing is you were showing us some areas where there was some, if I remember, some
toilet seats? You didn't want to say that?
A little bit of desecration.
No, I'm just saying, if the Muslims say that place is so holy, why are they turning it into a dump? Why are they filling it with trash? Why are they having barbecues? Why are they running around playing football? Why are they turning the mosque into a battle zone? I wanted to show to the world what's going on the Temple Mount. And that's why when I started going there, I didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing all these Allahu Akbar. So I started making videos of all of these harassments because I wanted the world to see the truth. And then I saw all the trash, and I started making videos, sharing to the whole world, saying this is what's going on the Temple Mount.
Very good videos, by the way. Tell us, how did you meet Rabbi Glick?
Actually, through Natalie Blackham, who was just a guest of yours.
Okay.
I was staying with them, and she introduced me to him. And so I actually didn't know much about him, so I wrote to Yehuda, and he says, who are you? So he actually approached me and said, why are you doing this for us? And don't you know the world is against the Jews? Why are you standing with Israel? So we just became friends.
So he asked you that question?
He did.
And you answered him?
He did.
And you've been friends since?
We have been friends since.
So being here for celebration, it's my understanding that you're actually going to be receiving an award here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, he just approached me and said, you know what, Jane, we're giving out these honor certificates to people who has really done it, try to make a difference for the Temple Mount and trying to speak up for the Jewish people's right to go on the Temple Mount. And you have actually risked your life. So would you receive this?
Wow,
and I said,
wonderful.
Are you kidding? Yes.
So Jewish people, Christian people, Druze, we have people, I can't even tell you the stories of how many different people are actually at this event here to celebrate their survival. And I like this. I actually like the fact that it's triumph over terror, because really that is
Amen.
it. You know, terrorism tells you stay at home, don't come. You know, these people right now in Jerusalem, there's all such things going on. Don't go to Jerusalem, and if you're there, stay in your hotel. No, people are here. They're at this spot. They're here to celebrate. You're here, and we want to thank you for being here. Is there anything you'd like to say? I mean, the world is listening.
I just want to say, don't ever, ever be afraid of coming to Israel. This is the safest place in the world, and the Jewish people are coming up to me saying, who are our friends? And I want to encourage every single Christian in the world, come to Israel and stand with the Jewish people, because they are watching. The world is turning.
Yes.
So if we as Christians won't stand with them, who will? And you're going to fall in love when you come to Israel.
You're going to fall in love when you come to Israel. Jane from Denmark, thank you so much for being there. Thank you for your friendship, your passion, your conviction, and the fact that you're walking it out. You're not just talking about it, you're actually living. And as my understanding, as a result of that, you've actually come under some threat yourself. Is that right?
I do, yes. I do.
Does that keep you from wanting to continue?
Never. I'm going to continue and continue. I gave up everything in Denmark to come here and stand with Israel and be in voice for Israel. And
Be
I'm
strong
gonna
and courageous. We've got a young lady here who is strong and courageous. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Jane,
much.
for coming. Thank you for and congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be back. Welcome back. This is Keith Johnson, Survival and Celebration. We're here actually just after this interview. We're actually going to be having a recorded message from Yuli Edelstein, the Speaker of the Knesset. I've actually seen it. It's very powerful, a blessing for our friend Yehuda. But I'm here with Barry. Barry, you're a part of an organization. News has reached around the world about the fact that your organization had some 5,000 Christian people here in Jerusalem. Can you tell us the name of the organization and what makes you think you can bring 5,000 people here, and what were you doing?
Well, the organization, the International Christian Embassy of Jerusalem, was founded in 1980. That was the year that the Knesset declared the law that Jerusalem was the capital. The Arab League responding saying any nation that kept an embassy there would no longer buy oil from them. So all of the remaining embassies moved down to the coast.
Okay.
And a group of Christians said, we believe Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. We'll create our embassy here to stand with the Jewish people.
Now tell these folks out here something about what you guys did here. And how long ago was it? Was it Sukkot?
Sukkot was just about 3 weeks ago. And because of Zechariah chapter 14, verses 16 to 19.
Open your Bibles.
Where the prophet says, there will come a day in which the Gentiles will come from all of the nations.
They're here.
That formerly spoke evil of Jerusalem. They will come up to Jerusalem to worship the Lord during Sukkot, during the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yes.
So the Christian Embassy's been doing this since 1980, and this year we had over 5,000 Christians gathered together in the Pais Arena.
Wow, so 5,000 Christian folks looked and saw, here's when the event is. It's Sukkot. It's what do they call a Jewish holiday, but it's a biblical holiday.
It's a biblical holiday.
You all came here and caused a little bit of a storm. I mean, I heard about it all the way over in the United States. 5,000 people here. What was the goal? What were you guys what were you trying to do?
Well, one, we're taking a stand that as Christians, we believe Israel is the land that God promised to the Jewish people. God is not finished with the Jewish people. We have been grafted in and owe them our blessings. And we had Christians from 85 nations.
85 nations here at the same time.
At the same time.
And tell me real quick, can you tell me how you met Yehuda Glick? How you heard about Yehuda Glick? Why does Yehuda want you here to be able to share with these folks?
Well, meeting Yehuda Glick tonight's really the first time, but I know him by his reputation and the invitation to be here to celebrate him surviving for a year and the way his survival mirrors that of Israel surviving. I couldn't not be here tonight.
You know, I got to tell you something. There's so many people. We've done the BFAinternational.com. We did an actual video of going on the Temple Mount with Yehuda on the time of Shavuot, and there were so many people that said to me, well, you're a pastor that's doing this. Are there other pastors who think like you that it's okay for the Jews to go on the Temple? Are there other pastors around the world that think like that?
The Christian Embassy has offices in 85 nations around the world, where we're educating Christians, not what our theology says, but what the Word of God says. You know, as Protestants, we left the Catholic Church because we protested, one, the idolatry, and we said we have to return to Scripture and see what the God's word says more important than what any man says.
Wow.
And when we say God's rejected the Jews, that's man's theology. That's not what the biblical text says.
You're hearing it here in Jerusalem, folks. I've got the head. You're the general manager of
General
this.
manager, yes.
Where do you live?
I live about a 10-minute walk from here.
So you're in Jerusalem. This is
I'm
where
in
you
Jerusalem.
are. Wow, Barry, we want to thank you so much for coming. Just like that, they say, can you come upstairs and do an interview? You did a great job.
Amen.
You guys are doing a wonderful thing, and we just thank you for your support of Israel.
As one Christian, another, thank you for being here and standing with Yehuda.
Folks, this is Barry. You guys, where can they find out more? Is there a website?
www.icej.org.
icej.org. Now we're going to get a chance to hear a message from the Speaker of the Knesset. Stay right here.
יהודה יקירנו, אנחנו שמחים בשמחתך. לצערי אני רק באמצעות הוידאו נמצא איתכם, אבל באמת, לא שבמקרה שלך זה מפתיע מישהו, אבל זה שאתה לא שוכח שזכית לחסדי שמיים, ושזכינו לראות נס גדול בכך שהשיפור שלך הדהים לא רק את הרופאים הסובבים אותך, אלא את כל עם ישראל. אתה לא שוכח מעין כנס הודיה, סעודת הודיה, איך שנקרא לזה. זאת באמת עדות לכך. אני מאחל לך הצלחה בכל המשימות החשובות שאתה תמיד לוקח על עצמך, לקדם דברים בעם ישראל. אתה לא צריך לזה תפקידים ולא פלאפלים על הכתפיים. יהודה גליק זה יהודה גליק, זה כבר מוסד. אז אני מאחל לך תמיד בריאות טובה, עם יפי, עם הילדים, עם כל המשפחה. תמשיך לשמח אותנו. מזל טוב.
Welcome back, you all. We are here in Jerusalem, and I am with, he's now a friend of mine. I'm telling you, this guy, his name is Avi Lipkin. Is it fair to say you're just a happy guy? I mean, you're just a happy guy.
Very happy.
Can you tell us just a little bit about why you're here? Why would Yehuda wanted me to talk to you?
Well, firstly, I have a police record of being arrested on the Temple Mount back in the early 70s when I was a young man.
Wait, no, I don't want you to... Wait.
And
Are you a troublemaker?
I was with Yisrael Meidad, Winky. You know, we were together in Beitar. We were up on the Temple Mount getting arrested all the time, and Gershon Solomon. So, you know, like the Temple Mount, I've been identified with the Temple Mount with a whole bunch of really good people.
Okay.
Who are here tonight.
Okay, so you're here. You've known Yehuda for how long?
Actually, I've only known him for the last maybe 7 or 8 years. I used to visit the Temple Institute with my Christian friends that would come to Israel. And so Yehuda, of course, is a very special man. And praise God for his survival. I think it's a sign.
You think it's a sign? What do you mean by that?
I think it's a sign that he came out so miraculously as he did with 4 bullet wounds. I mean, I don't know too many people.
So when you heard about this happening, how did that affect you?
I was very shocked. But we knew that he was rocking the boat as far as Islam was concerned. But the problem is when Jews and Christians are breathing, that rocks the boat for the Muslims.
So tell me this. You actually, your background is what?
I'm Jewish.
Okay.
Originally from New York, Ashkenazi. My wife is Jewish Sephardic from Egypt.
So Ashkenazi and Sephardic from New York.
Yes. No, my wife is from Cairo.
She's from Cairo?
And she just retired last week from the Kol Israel radio services after 30 years of monitoring the Arabic language broadcasts of our neighbors.
Really?
And what they're saying is we kill the Jews on Saturday, we kill the Christians on Sunday. And by the way, the Temple Mount is never mentioned once in the Quran. Jerusalem is never mentioned once in the Quran. And very simply, Jerusalem is not holy for the Muslims, and neither is the Temple Mount. They just want to have it so that the Jews and Christians should not have it.
So what is your, how can I say this? If you see Yehuda doing his work, if you were to tell someone about Yehuda and his work, what would you say about him?
Well, I would say the following. We all know, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, that the day of judgment is rapidly approaching.
It's getting quicker.
Yes. Now, Jews and Christians agree on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We agree on the Old Testament, the Tanakh. And we all agree that the Messiah is a Jew from Israel who speaks Hebrew. So Yehuda is part of this great time of redemption for all Jews and all Christians. Jerusalem is holy for the Jews. It is holy for the Christians. It is not holy for the Muslims, and they turn their backsides to the Holy of Holies when they pray south to Mecca. So this is something that I think God is in God's hands, and God's going to deal with it very soon.
I'm glad to hear that, because there's so many different opinions. I'm sure those that are listening have opinions. Everyone has very strong opinions about this, to the point some folks go to the extreme about it. What I think is really beautiful about this event is that we're lifting up the fact that it was only God that could have reached down and touched Yehuda. We're going to hear that from more people, the people that took him to the hospital and all that sort of thing. But here there are these people that he's touched. So here you are as a man that's here. You and Yehuda would not have the same religious background. Is that correct?
I don't know his religious background. I grew up with secular parents. I was raised in a conservative temple in Temple Israel in Great Neck, New York, very well-known conservative synagogue. And now I'm Orthodox, modern Orthodox, and my sons live also in Orthodox settlements. They're Orthodox. And I feel that this is all part of the redemption. It's all part of God bringing his people home from all over the world. And one of the things that is very important is that, as you know, ISIS is sending its soldiers all over the world to kill the Jews on Saturday and kill the Christians on Sunday. And I believe this will be a catalyst for a very massive homecoming of 6 million Jews from all over the world, or 7 million Jews. And the intermarriage rates are 80%. So I think there will be a lot of Jews coming home with Christian spouses and children. So there's going to be a tremendous ingathering, which I think is what God wants. And Messiah, whoever the Messiah is, wants everyone here in Jerusalem for that day, and wants his temple the temple should be made holy for him.
Made holy, sanctified. So we have people from all over the world that are here, not only at this event, obviously they're in Jerusalem, people that are streaming to the mountain. That sounds like Isaiah. That would happen. The Torah would go forth around the world. We have that happening. You're an example. There's some things that you're actually even working on right now that are pretty historical and radical. I don't want to go too far, but you kind of had me interested in that. Is there anything else you want to say?
Well, it's something very important about the Temple Mount. Yes. And I was very pleased this week to see on one of the blogs, one of the YouTubes or Facebook, about a Christian group saying that the Jews have the right to the Temple Mount. And why is this so important? Because, like I said before, the Temple Mount is holy for the Jews and the Christians. And actually, I'm very politically active. I had a meeting with the Vatican ambassador, Archbishop Pietro Sambi, about 10 years ago when I first started working on this idea of a Bible block party. And the meeting was supposed to be 5 minutes, but it went on for an hour. And he said, I have to tell you something in confidence. Now, unfortunately, he died, so the in confidence is past.
Okay.
He said to me that the Muslim Waqf, their leadership here in Jerusalem, said, you know, these Jews, they talk about a temple. There was never a temple, which is, of course, is nonsense, because even in the Muslim tour guides up until 1964, it said very clearly that Solomon's temple was there and Herod's temple was there and Jesus was there. Forgive me, Jews, if I say Jesus. But so he said to me, you know, I have to tell you something in confidence. He said, you know, that they said to me, what do you say? Do you think there was a temple? Because, of course, we Muslims say there was never a temple. It's revisionist history. And he said, if there was never a temple, where did Jesus overturn the money changers' tables? At the temple. Where did he have his bar mitzvah when he was 12? At the temple. Where did he go on Hanukkah? John 10, verse 22. Now, I'm not a Christian, but I know the New Testament. Jesus was at the temple, and all the disciples were at the temple. So if the temple never existed, what the Muslims are saying is an attack on Christianity. And that's why the Christians stand with the Jews regarding the Temple Mount, because it's holy to the Christians and the Jews in partnership.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you something. We're working on a project. I've actually been working on it for 2 years. Where I met Yehuda we were working on a project called Reclaiming the Real Hanukkah. We've got people that are, right at this present time. It's going to be made available in a couple weeks at bfainternational.com. But that is something that people aren't always aware of. They're not always aware of the context historically, practically regarding the Temple Mount and these different, the faiths, the background of those faiths, that actually brings them to that spot.
Well, the United Nations, UNESCO, is basically denying Christianity. Not just Judaism, Christianity too. That's why 2 billion Christians all over the world, including the Catholics, should be up in arms about this and defending Israel, defending the Jewish right to the Temple Mount.
We got so many people that are doing battle right now in a good way. They're positive. They're making big strides toward bringing people together. We're certainly doing that. So many people here are doing that. We're here celebrating the survival of our friend Yehuda Glick, but he's not only surviving, he's actually thriving. People like you, he'll continue to do that. Avi, thank you so much. I shouldn't probably say this, but this guy is also a part-time comedian. He had me laughing out there.
I have a few good jokes, but
No jokes. Stay with us. Yehuda's going to be coming pretty soon, giving us an update. We've got some other people that are coming. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Well, we're wrapping up pretty soon. Yehuda Glick is about to come, but before that, I found a Gentile. No, I found a real Gentile. I call him Tommy the Gentile. And when he told me what he does, I just thought, wow, Yehuda, great idea to have you come and share. Tommy, put that microphone up. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Tommy Waller, and we have an organization called Hayovel. That for the
Tell
last
us what that means.
Hayovel means the Jubilee. Yovel is Jubilee, and it's interesting. We just finished the Shemitah cycle, and the Shemitah cycles, 7 Shemitah cycles, and you're into the Jubilee. So there's Jubilee has a lot of rich understanding in Hebrew, and so we felt like. When we came here 11 years ago, that God was really sharing something with us that was very important, and that is that what the Jews returning to the land of Israel was a phenomenal thing, and but also the restoration of the land of Israel was a phenomenal thing. And so when I came here, my first visit, I really was just here to visit. God had it. That was a little over 11 years ago.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, a little over 11 years ago. And I was farming in Tennessee, just right outside of Nashville. And a friend of mine said, I have a farmer in Har Bracha. Har Bracha is the Mount of Blessing.
The Mount of Blessing,
The Mount of Blessing, just north of Jerusalem, about 50 miles north of Jerusalem, just above Shiloh. And he took me there, and I met a Jewish farmer. Now, living in Middle Tennessee, you have to understand, I wasn't around, there was no synagogues. I grew up in the church. There was no Orthodox Jewish community around, so I really wasn't familiar with this. So I'm introducing basically for the first time, a religious Jewish man. And what did he do? He took me to his vineyard and he pulled out his Tanakh and he read to me the prophet Jeremiah, which says, "You shall plant vineyards on the mountains of Samaria." Now, for me, that was a very stunning thing for a Jew to share with me this scripture, because I was standing there in the vineyards that didn't exist for 2,000 years.
They had not,
had not existed for 2,000 years.
Right.
So for me, it was one of those epiphanies. I had never in my life been able to touch God before, not in the physical reality. I had worshipped, I had prayed, but to see the dreams of the prophets right in my hands was something that was overwhelming to me.
Wow!
And I think that's a demonstration of Israel to the whole world, God's existence.
And so you all are bringing. I met you and your wife were telling me about. You're bringing Gentile people to come and to work the land in Israel.
And not just the land of Israel, but the mountains of Israel.
So even in places that would be considered a little controversial, like
what? You're telling me they're controversial? I had no idea.
I'm going to say it. Judea and Samaria. Is this where you are?
Yeah, that's where we're at.
We're going to cut this interview real quick.
You know what we say? We say that in our organization, we're too afraid to cross the green line. Yeah. Tel Aviv is much too dangerous. We just can't go there.
Well, tell us about how you met Yehuda Glick.
Yehuda Glick has become a dear friend of mine just in the last month. And it's an interesting story here, because a year ago I had we were running our organization. We had over 600 volunteers come from all over the world to help harvest and plant and prune vineyards in the mountains of Israel. And but I was having some problems, and I had a GI tract bleed, stomach issues, and I was very seriously ill and was in Shaarei Zedek. The next day after I arrived there in the emergency room and was in the hospital, Yehuda Glick was shot and came to the same hospital.
Wow.
My wife was, all of a sudden the hospital changed. I was in that hospital. I was there, and it was a real connection. He didn't know it, but we were there, even in that hospital, just praying for him.
Wow.
And we were very connected. It was a miracle. But just a month ago, we were making a plan to come to the Temple Mount, to just tour the Temple Mount. We were going to walk up there and actually pray up there. And our Christian group was we were wanted to felt like it was important for us to be there. Long story short, we connected with Yehuda for the first time. Within 3 days, he was speaking to all of our 150 volunteers. Was here. It was amazing.
Yeah.
He spoke to our group immediately, and it seemed like I'd known him my whole life.
Yeah. And I have to say, folks, I mean, I haven't talked a lot about it, but I actually first met Yehuda. I was on the Temple Mount working on a project called Reclaiming the Real Hanukkah. Rich and Margaret were there with me. We were doing this project, and I looked and I saw this red-headed guy with no shoes on. I called on the phone. I asked for his number. I called on the phone. I met him, and since then, it's just been an amazing. The guy's heart, the way he does what he does, who he is just amazing. And obviously,
wait a minute, I thought he was my best friend.
No, he said I'm his best friend. Kidding me? No, but it really is something. He's got a great testimony that's reaching people. You guys are not Jewish.
No.
You guys are, like I said, you told me. I said I found a Gentile. There are many Gentiles and Jewish people here. A number of folks. Heck, there's even a couple Methodists here. But there are people from all over the world that are here celebrating survival and celebration. Thanks to his family, thanks to more than all of that, thanks to God who reached down and gave him a big hug. But your work is important. Can you tell people how to reach?
You can find us on Hayovel.com, Hayovel, Hayovel.com.
Awesome.
And go there and find out. Come join us in the land. Get your hands in the
Get your hands in the dirt. Well, we're going to hear from Yehuda, you all, so stay with us. Dami, thank you so much for coming, you and your wife, and being here and celebrating with us. And we're going to see if we can get him up from dancing to get the last word, the real story, the truth of all of this, and see if we can't get some clarification. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you all for hanging in there. We'll be right back.
אנחנו נגיד שלום לרב יהודה גליק. אני לא יודע מה הסיבה שהוא מצטלם כאן, אבל כאן היה לו נס גדול והוא ניצל.
29 לאוקטובר, ו' חשוון. אנחנו מקיימים פה את הכנס השנתי שכותרתו הייתה עם ישראל חוזר להר הבית, והגיע מפה מישהו עם אופנוע, קסדה לבנה, כולו שחור. אני מסתובב, ופה, ממש פה, עומד לי האיש. אני מסתכל לא רק בעיניים, לא רואה שיש לו ביד אקדח, והוא אומר לי, אני נורא מצטער, פגעת בי, אתה אויב של אל-אקצא, יורה בי את 4 הכדורים. אתם יודעים, אומרים שכל כדור יש לו כתובת, אצלי כל כדור ידע מה הוא מפספס. אחרי הירי רצתי קצת, ושי נשכב עליי ועצר לי את הדם עד שהגיע כוחות הרפואה, ולי הוא אמר, הרב יהודה, אל תלך לנו, אנחנו צריכים אותך. זה הדבר היחיד שאני זוכר. אחר כך איבדתי את ההכרה. תוך 13 דקות הייתי כבר בתוך חדר המיון של בית חולים שערי צדק, וברוך השם הצילו את חיי. לפני 25 שנה אני תלמיד ישיבה, ואני רואה איזו מודעה שיש הרצאה על עליית יהודים להר הבית. היה נשמע לי משהו מאוד מאוד הזוי. למדתי את הנושא, וראיתי שבאמת מותר לעלות להר הבית. והתחלתי לעלות להר הבית. אני מנהל משרד מכון המקדש, אבל אני עובד פה ברובע, ואני בעצם מתחיל לעלות להר הבית בתדירות יותר גבוהה כמעט כל יום. המקום שהוא לכאורה המקום הכי קדוש לעם היהודי, הוא בעצם המקום הכי קדוש לכל מאמיני התנ"ך בעולם. מחולל. גם משחקים שם כדורגל, עושים שם פיקניקים, אבל יותר מזה, כל אדם שהוא לא מוסלמי שעולה להר הבית מקבל תחושה קשה שהוא לא רצוי שם, שהוא לא רצוי. ואני למדתי קורס מורה דרך והדרכתי קבוצות בהר הבית, יהודים, דתיים, לא דתיים, נוצרים, וכל קבוצה שאתה עולה להר הבית אתה מקבל צעקות, גידופים, זרקו עלינו כיסאות, נעליים, דחיפות, בעיטות. זה הגיע לרמות שבאמת היה בלתי נסבל. הקמתי גוף שנקרא הקרן למורשת הר הבית, והפעלנו פרויקט מיזם משותף עם קרן עצמאות ישראל, שבעצם התפקיד שלו היה לחבר כל מי שמעם ישראל, לחבר להר הבית, ובעצם חשבנו שככל שתהיה יותר נוכחות ושיתרגלו לכך שאנחנו חלק מהנוף הטבעי במקום, אז ככה המתיחות תרד. אנשים חושבים שאני אדם קיצוני, והאמת, אני אדם מאוד קיצוני. אני קיצוני מאוד באהבה שלי את כל אדם באשר הוא אדם. אני קיצוני בליברליות שלי. אני קיצוני באמונה שלי בשוויון ובזכויות אדם. והיום, כשאני התחלתי לעלות להר הבית לפני 25 שנה, היו בקושי מניין יהודים שעלו להר הבית, היו בקושי 2 רבנים שהתירו. היום אנחנו במציאות שעולים אלפי יהודים להר הבית, 300 רבנים מתירים, אבל עדיין יש לנו עוד מה לעשות, כי עדיין הרבה מאוד יהודים מגיעים, באים לכותל, נעצרים בכותל, ובעצם לא ממשיכים למקום שהוא משאת הנפש של העם היהודי 2000 שנה. זה לא אני, זה ישעיהו אומר. ונהרו אליו כל הגויים, כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ואותו דבר כל אלה שמתנגדים לזה שאנחנו נשוב לציון, להר הבית, יתרגלו לזה שאנחנו כאן, ויתרגלו לזה שפנינו לשלום. פנינו לאחווה ולשלום, כי שמו של השם שלום, חותמו שלום. אלימות היא בדרך כלל סימן של חולשה. וכשהקדוש ברוך הוא נותן לי כזאת נשיקה, כזה חיבוק, מציל אותי, ואומר לי, יהודה, אני אוהב אותך, אז אין לי ברירה, זה מחייב. גם כשקצת קשה לי, אני מבין שהמשימה שלי חייבת להימשך. אנחנו חייבים לשוב בשיבה מלאה לציון, מתוך שלום ומתוך חיבור של כל העולם. ביתי בית תפילה יקרא לכל העמים, בקריאה שהשם אחד ושמו אחד.
Here we are back again.
I can't believe it. I took a break so I could dance with you. Yehuda, you've been dancing all night. What are you so excited about?
Well, I'm very excited when I see so many people who are happy about the fact that we're here, about the fact that we returned to Jerusalem, about the fact that I have my identical twin brother here.
You heard it here first, folks.
Hey, you can see everybody says we look exactly alike. And we do, because we both met. And we actually came here on our first meeting.
Yehuda, I want to bring us back. I want to bring us back just for a second. And I'm sweating and all this, but I want you to tell people about this. I first met you.
Tell me, is there any other explanation?
Folks, you're going to hear something that no one's... Can we tell them what actually happened? I actually met Yehuda where we're working on a Hanukkah project, reclaiming the real Hanukkah. He watched it. He's given us his blessing. But I had a question. I had a question after I called you and we met, we talked. I asked you about something regarding the Ark of the Covenant. And I have this on audio. I don't know how I'll ever share it with people. I'm sitting at breakfast, and what did you tell me? Just take me back, Yehuda.
I told you, truly, you really went and followed in the footsteps of the Ark.
Followed the footsteps of the Ark, but I had a place I didn't understand.
And you told me, listen, one place we want to find, I still can't find, Goren Nachon.
It was Goren Nachon, and it's where Uzzah reached his hand out.
And was killed at the time.
He was killed at the time.
For touching the holiness.
And I asked you, I said, Yehuda, can you help me? And you sat down and ate breakfast with me, and I still have the audio. And what did you tell me?
I told you, Keith, we want to go. We'll find some time to go, and I'll show you where it is.
Yes. And where is it?
And I came and took you to Bible Hill, which is right behind this building.
Bible Hill, and what was found at Bible Hill?
Goren Nachon.
Goren Nachon, and tell us whether or not the silver scrolls found at Goren.
And right at this place right over here, they found the original priestly blessings.
The oldest written example of the name of God on silver scrolls at this spot, ladies and gentlemen.
At the spot where the grave from the time of King David.
So you put me on your motor scooter.
And we drove here.
And you drove me here on your motor scooter. And I have all this on video. I don't know how I'll ever share.
And you got to see this, because the first thing we bumped into somebody, and we asked him.
And he said, Nachon.
Nachon.
You have to understand, folks. So we're looking at each other like, who are each other? We're wondering what's going on. And in Yehuda, we taped that in, and you've helped in so many things.
And then we had an event.
There was an event, and you asked me to
send a blessing.
Yes.
And you sent me a blessing. You shocked me with that Hebrew blessing.
Yes.
And you shocked the audience.
So all of that happened, and everything's going fine. And then you changed my life. Because Yehuda, I was in Charlotte, and I received a text message. And the text message said, your friend has been shot. And I went home and I rushed and I went to try to find out, Yehuda, and I received the worst news about you that I could receive. It wasn't just that my friend had been shot. He's in critical condition, and they're saying he may not make it.
They were working
Yehuda, take us back to that night. Out of your mouth, what happened? What did you say? And what did the person say? Take us back to that night.
Yeah, I was walking out. There was an event right over here, which we have an annual event. And I was walking out. It was 10 p.m. And as I walked out with the stuff in my hand, I put it in my car, and I turned around, and there's this guy on the scooter motorcycle. And he says to me, "You are an enemy of Al-Aqsa." And I get close to him, and he shoots me 4 bullets to the center of my body. And I run, and I fall on the floor. And then my friend comes over to me and says to me, "Rabbi Yehuda, don't go, we need you." And I realized that my situation is very critical. And I actually lost consciousness then. I was in the hospital within 13 minutes from the moment of shooting. And today, right here in the event today, we had the director of the Shaare Zedek Hospital, who told the people here that he's been 40 years in medicine. And with the coincidences that happened at this event were shocking to him.
Give me just an example.
He said that with the situation that I arrived to the hospital, to survive that situation is not natural. Something else, there was somebody involved here. And yes, his doctors made the right decisions. They were all messengers of God. And all, not only them, all the people around the world who were praying on my behalf, my family and my friends, and the people who are listening and following. And here we are.
Those that are listening, I'm going to ask you a hard question, Yehuda. Why you? What is everybody so upset about with you? Can you, I mean, I've heard all sorts of images and thoughts about you, and then I meet you, and none of it makes sense. Why you, Yehuda?
Look, we're in a battle here with cruelty, with evil. And evil hates more than anything somebody that does not give in to evil, and somebody that does not even lose his temper because of evil. When we are going straight with God, with the love of God, in the hands of God, and we're not moving 1 millimeter aside. And when we walk on the Temple Mount and you hear them harassing, and they want us to get angry back at them, and we all tell everybody,
nope,
guys, ignore them. Refer to it as if you're hearing the motor of a tractor. Totally ignore it. And that's what aggravates them more than anything. How can you ignore us? And evil wants to get us. And when you have God's aid, when you have God's Spirit there, you know where you're going, and He gives you the strength to continue.
And you've continued. You're not only surviving, you're thriving, and your message has been a message for everyone. You've called for a message of peace.
Temple Mount is the Temple Mount of Peace. It's a mount, a house of prayer for all nations, and it's a place which has to be, it's in our hands, to make it become a place where everybody in the world can freely call in the name of God and freely say, God is one and His name is one.
So you're telling me Muslims could say that?
Muslims can say that.
Christians could say
Christians can say that.
Jews
Anybody
could say
that. Anybody who believes in the one and only God.
So here we are with the man that they say is so dangerous to everything, will start everything, and you haven't been to the Temple Mount for how long?
For a little over a year.
For a little over a year, that's another conversation. But Yehuda, I want to say something. This book, can you? I'm holding my first English copy of this book. We've got the Hebrew copy. We've got the English copy.
No. The back we have a blessing by Rabbi Riskin. We have a prominent Muslim author who wrote his blessing, and we have a pastor, Keith Johnson, who wrote his blessing.
I made it to the back of the book.
The back of the book in Hebrew and in English.
In Hebrew and in English, folks. Get this. This gives us biblical, historical, and archaeological information on the Temple Mount. They can order it right now.
You can order it right now.
Free shipping. Free shipping. And you know what? Listen, you won't say it, so I'm going to say it. Folks, when I first met Yehuda, I asked him, I said, what can I do? When I heard his message, I said, what can I do to assist you? And I believe that if more people could come along, not to assist him personally, like, oh, you need help. No, this message is for the world. Yehuda, how can people come alongside with the work that you're doing? You're making inroads. There's change. There's wonderful things happening. Can you how can people help?
Keith, you've been helping me ever since we began. I also want to thank the sponsor of this evening, Breaking Israel News.
Breaking Israel News.
And I want to thank all those people who supported me. I want to thank my good friend, Emmanuel Greenspan. I want to thank so many other great people who helped me make this evening tonight. But I also want to say that it's not my message. Even if I would have $1 billion, it's not enough, because it's not me. It can't be done by one person. It can't be done by one organization. It has to be done by more people who support. I prefer $1 from thousands of people, that one person give me $1 billion. That's nothing that we want. I want to touch the hearts of each and every one of you. I want to touch each and every one of your heart. Contribute. Be part of what we're doing. Get our newsletter. Sign into our newsletter.
And
be
one
part
simple
of what
way that they can do, there's actually more versions. We actually got a chance to see from start to finish, going from Hebrew to English, from Russian
to English.
And I met the author. He's actually here. I can't believe it. Meir. I met him and his wife. But there's other versions, other languages that actually can be done if we can get the support. So go and visit your site. Tell them again the site.
TempleMountHeritage.com.
Yeah.
That's the name of the organization is Temple Mount Heritage Foundation.
Now, I'm very mad at you that you got shot because it changed my life, but I'm so happy that you're thriving, my friend. Another hug.
God bless you. I'm hugging you all.
Thank you all for coming. This has been an amazing event, and Yehuda, we're standing with you. Well, there you have it, an event that has been touching on so many different levels, so many people testifying, so many folks that would have loved to come up and talk that we didn't get a chance to get behind camera. But I just have to say, I've got a son, his name is Kyle. He said to me, when I visit Israel, he said, Dad, I only want one thing. What do you want, Kyle? Could you bring me back a picture of the Temple Mount? That's all he wanted. Could have asked for anything. T-shirt. Hey, all you got me was this T-shirt. No, he said, could you bring me back this picture? I brought that picture back and we framed it. And here's my son who, he sees the Temple Mount and he says that must be a very important place because he also reads the Bible that says God will place his name there forever. And so he's visited that place with me. I've been there. It's been breaking my heart to hear about the misconceptions of what Israel's trying to do and how there's information that I call it misinformation. From what my understanding is there's an agreement between Israel and Jordan, and that agreement says that there should be interfaith respect. That regardless of whether you be Jewish, Christian, Muslim, there should be interfaith respect regarding these holy places. And so my hope and prayer is that will happen. Solomon said something, I think it's 1 Kings chapter 8, don't get me wrong, but something it says, he prayed and he said, now for the foreigner who comes from a distant land and comes and prays toward this place, hear from heaven and do what he asks. And so every time I come to Israel, I always want to go to that place and I want to be able to pray and I want to be able to do that in peace. And unfortunately right now, it's just not an environment that is like that. In fact, the last tour I came here with some folks, I couldn't even go on the Temple Mount. The tour guide said, Keith, you kind of are too close to Yehuda Glick and there's some tension there. And I just think that that's a travesty. I think that all of us should be able to go in peace and to be able to enjoy the power of that place where his name is there forever. His eyes and his ears are there perpetually. So in the meantime, do us a favor, check TempleMountHeritageFoundation.com. Get a chance to see what's going on there. There's so many different organizations around the world that are putting forth great information about the Temple Mount. It'll be your job to get that information. It's been an honor for me to be here. I'm glad that you're here. Again, we appreciate you being here. And remember one thing as I close, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.